Start in Libya, where European Union ministers are scrutinizing Libya's plan for dealing with migration. European Union defense ministers and Libyan government officials are currently meeting in Malta. They are debating how the European Union can support the North African nation curb the number of migrants that leave its shores to cross the Mediterranean Sea. Our correspondent Jack Parrock reports.
Thousands of migrants continue to be rescued by the Italian Coast Guard in the Mediterranean Sea every month, but thousands are dying every year. With the summer on its way, the EU wants Libya's Coast Guard to take control of patrolling Libyan waters with a force of 500 officers. EU leaders agreed to train and support those efforts, but the EU is concerned about the plan from the UN-backed Government of National Accord in Tripoli.
We are currently already looking at the assets that might be required, assessing the needs, the sustainability and the correct and proper use they can be devoted to. And so this is an ongoing process already.
EU defence ministers in Malta have been poring over Libya's request for equipment and military hardware, but some have expressed surprise that Tripoli isn't asking for aircraft and believe the so-called shopping list may be incomplete. Libya remains unstable, with the Government of National Accord not in control of many parts of the territory.
While migration from Libya is an important issue for Libyans, that is one of the issues they have to deal with. And other issue in terms of establishing law and order, getting all the elements of the states up and running in a functional way are equally important, if not at times more important priority.
This month, the EU has supported migrant projects in Libya with just under $100 million. But EU partner countries all know that Brussels stumped up over $3 billion for Turkish cooperation. The European Union is keen to engage Libya in tackling the migrant smugglers, but the hesitation to supply any kind of arms to the fractured country comes from a fear that they might get into the wrong hands and cause further instability. Jack Parrock, CGTN, Brussels.
And to give us more insight to that story, I'm joined live by CGTN's Yasser Hakim in Cairo. Yasser, the European Union defense ministers are reviewing a request by Libya for naval equipment to help control the flow of migrants to Europe. So how would such an assistance be channeled to Libya given the existing divisions and the vacuum?
Yes, it's the whole issue there, and I think this is what is puzzling the EU and many countries that are willing to interfere to try to fight off the surge in this illegal migration. Because what you have is that the government, which is the National Unity Government, and you have the Parliament, and the Parliament does not recognize the government, and both are internationally recognized. So you have two major entities ruling the country, and they don't accept each other. Each entity has its own army and its own military unit, and they're now fighting each other in many cases. And on the other side, they're also fighting ISIL. So they don't have the capabilities, the means, the financial power, and also the time even to give it to stop any kind of illegal migration. The police is very weak. Militias and militants are controlling parts of the country, as well as that you have an arms embargo on the Libyan army, so it does not have the necessary equipment to do so. So the fear is that the equipment, the money, any kind of assistance will go into the wrong hands instead of going into the hands of the government or the military. It goes into the hands of militias, especially that some of the military units in the Libyan army and the one that's controlled by the Presidential Council is actually contained and includes militias. It's not a real proper army in what you can know, but actually it's a group of militias gathering together, making an army. And these militias have their own agenda as well. So sometimes they can take some of these weapons or military and they defect and have their own agenda and try to take over the situation. So it's very complicated, and this is why the EU is quite not really in decision what to do with the assistance or how it can go into the right hands.
Well, yes, so the situation there remains rather complex, though conflict is still ongoing in Libya. There is a lack of security. So shouldn't the European Union, though, be more interested in restoring peace in Libya first before thinking of stopping migrant flows from that country?
It's very important that bringing peace should be the priority. But it doesn't mean that we neglect the side of the illegal migration, because this is also a part of the security. Because who controls the illegal migration? Who helps this flow? They're all militants, they're all militias, they're all bands and groups that are against drug dealers even. So it's important to work on both sides together, and part of it is blamed, even this part of the world, North Africa, the Middle East, they blame the European Union and the West of actually inflaming this. Because in Asia, in countries like Afghanistan, in Libya, in Iraq, what happened is that when the West interfered, they dismantled the army in these countries. We've seen in Iraq how the army was dismantled when the US invaded Iraq. We've seen in Libya when NATO hit Libya during Gaddafi time, and when he was ousted and killed, the NATO left, and they left a disbanded army and different militias that are controlling the country, and no Libyan army, united Libyan army, to bring peace back. And this is what this part of the world is blaming the West of doing, dismantling the army, dismantling the police, and leaving the place for terrorist groups. And what should be happening now is to work on both sides, retaining security, helping the countries here to retain their army, to have a united army and police, and also helping in the economic development to avoid more illegal migration.
Yes, Hakim, for us there with that update from Cairo.